Now, originally, that scene had a lot more violence when the cop couldn't get the key from the attendant. But as I told the BBC, you'll never see sex and violence on my show. Oh, you might see it in my home, but you'll never see it on my show. Which brings me right to who I am and why I'm here. To begin with, I'm Kelly Monteith. I want to clear that up right away because I'm sure the majority of the British public is going, Kelly who? Kelly Monteith? Who's she? And secondly, I was worried about that, you see, when the BBC invited me to do this show, because I thought, well, firstly, nobody will know who I am. Secondly, how would they react to an American comedian? Because that's what I do. I'm a comedian. And you get weird reactions when you tell people that. Some people don't believe me. What do you do? I'm a comedian. You're a comedian? You're a comedian? Well, you don't look like a comedian. What's my day off? Some people don't like comedians. I found that out the hard way. My first job in Las Vegas was with the Osmond brothers. Now, Las Vegas, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's a pretty loose town. A lot of gambling, and a lot of drinking, a lot of nudity on stage. But working with the Osmond brothers, now they told me, they said, now look, if you're gonna work with us, you gotta work clean. I mean, there's no sexual references and no cursing on stage, which I didn't mind, really didn't bother me. Oh, I thought the urine test after every show was a bit heavy. But I realized I have an image to sustain, you see. But now their audience is mostly little girls. You get these girls about 11, 12, 13, 14. That's the whole front part of the audience, see. Now, girls that age, they just hate comedians. They hate them. I'd see it every night. I'd come out on stage, they'd sit there, oh, God, a comedian. You gotta sit there with a comedian. And everything I'd say, oh, gross. It's so gross. Comedian. I think that's why some people don't like comedians. It's that word, comedian, see? Because it's got kind of a negative image. I mean, it's always been used as a put-down. I remember that when I was growing up. If something happened in the classroom, that's always the first thing the teacher'd say. All right, who's the comedian? Make a joke your first day on a job, see what your boss says. 10 million people out of work, and I get a comedian. That's why it's so hard for me to get things like a loan from a bank, you see? It's really hard that way, because I put occupation comedian. Now, when they see that, they think twice, because, I mean, lend money to a guy that acts silly for a living? What if I defaulted? Poor guy that okayed the loan, they drag him up in front of his bosses. Now, let's see here, Hargrove. Bought this loan for $15,000 that defaulted that you lent here to a Mr. Kelly Monteith. Occupation comedian. Comedian? You lent $15,000 to a comedian? Because what the hell are you, Hargrove? Some kind of comedian? So sometimes it can be a liability. It's the only word that really describes what I do, though. Comic, now that's okay, I guess. That's just a derivative of the word comedian. Humorist and satirist, I never liked those terms. You know, they're a little elite for me. Buffoon, that's another one I never liked, you know? Sounds like I'm not all there. You know? How long have you been a buffoon? Oh, all my life, I guess. Started out as a nitwit, worked my way up to a stooge. And now I'm a full-fledged buffoon. Entertainer, I never liked that word either. That covers anything from a call girl to a politician. It's not specific. So comedian just pretty much sums up who I am and what I do. But still, I was kind of worried. I mean, an American comedian with a British television show? How would people react?
You what? Well, personally, talking for myself, so to speak, like, I don't rate the Yanks as comics. I mean to say they don't know nothing about the British sense of humour. Jolly something else they don't know neither. That's the fare from London Airport. Now, that is something to laugh at.
Now, this is a room that I work at being a comedian. This is where I write my jokes, and I rehearse routines, and think out loud, and talk out loud. My wife, Suzanne, was a little put off about that at first, and I can't really blame her, because I guess that, well, any guy that sits in a room all day telling jokes to a wall does appear to have his headlight dipped. But now she realizes it's part of my work, and she pretty much leaves me alone. Besides, now, she's a very contemporary woman, and she's got her own interests and her own lifestyle, you see. Of course, I guess like most husbands, I sometimes think that her lifestyle is dedicated to spending money faster than I can possibly make it. Yeah, I guess like most husbands, I have this reoccurring nightmare, usually around payday.
Darling, I'd love to fly with you to the Caribbean, but we'll have to charter a Concorde. It's too exhausting otherwise. Well, I'm sure there must be a spare little Concord hanging around somewhere. Oh, hello. Darling, I wonder if I could call you back. My little joke writer's arrived. See you later.
Suzanne, may I have a word with you, please?
Darling, I have had the most exhausting day.
I'm sure.
Oh, I have this wicked cramp in my wrist from signing checks. I do wish somebody could find an easier way of spending money.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, you know?
Of course,
Yeah.
you've come about today's bills.
The bills.
Well, they're over there.
What, these are today's bills? Today's? Susan, there's hundreds of bills here. God, you must have hit every shop in Bond Street.
Darling, you're exaggerating again. That's only the left-hand side.
The left side?
Anyway, just get rid of them.
What am I going to do with them? My closet's full, my car, my trunks, my charts.
Well, just put them in that wardrobe or anywhere. You know how I loathe clutter.
Clutter? Yeah, sure. Listen, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I wish you'd hold a little restraint when it comes to all the... What is all this?
That's the right-hand side of Bond Street.
I'm already up to my assets and bills.
Darling, you're being dramatic.
I'm not being dramatic. I'm being hysteric. I'll have to write 10,000 jokes to pay for all these. Oh, God, you know how long it takes to write 10,000 jokes? I wonder if they let you type late in Dartmoor. What is that, you're feeding a dog? What is that stuff?
Caviar?
Suzanne, that stuff's $200 an ounce, and you're feeding it to the dog.
It's frightfully good for his coat. It brings it up in a high sheet.
Oh, that's nice. It'll match my high blood pressure. So high now, if I didn't have skin, I'd be a fountain.
Darling, you're beginning to upset me. Philip, will you run my bar? Roger, ice some more champagne.
Yeah,
turn down the bed. And Kelly.
Yeah?
I have a little proposition for you.
A proposition? You mean maybe,
Why don't you go off to your little room?
My little room?
And start writing those 10,000 little jokes.
10,000?
Just go in there and be funny.
10,000?
Be funny.
Now, I'm sure some husbands must recognize that nightmare. Now, really, my wife Suzanne's nothing like that. Oh, I suppose deep down inside, she has a little bit of decadence locked up someplace, but I think we all do. It's just that most of us control it better than others. Ones that don't go into politics. No, I wouldn't say Suzanne like that. She's very supportive of me, and she's always ready to get involved in just about anything that I do.
Did you say dinner tonight?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, Kelly, I can't go.
What do you mean you can't go?
Well, I've got a class tonight.
Oh, skip the class, Suzanne. This is important.
So's my class. It's political science. I must have the credits. Oh, do you want a wife who knows something about the world or a vegetable?
Well, right now, I'd settle for a vegetable. Look, I told them you were going to be there.
Well, you just have to tell them I'll be on there.
Well, I assumed that you'd want to be there.
You assumed? Look, when we got married, I didn't hear anybody say anything about love, honor, and assume.
Suzanne, this is a big chance for me. This guy's thinking about financing my movie. It could change my whole life.
Well, look, Hal's your manager. He's going to be there, isn't he?
Yeah, but I need you there, too.
Why?
Well, okay, you study political science. You know one of the most important things a politician can have is a wife, right? There's Mrs. Nixon, there's Mrs. Carter, there's Mr. Thatcher.
He's a wife?
Well, he is now. Anyway, it's the same for comedians. I mean, the people that run show business today, they're not actors. I mean, they're businessmen, they're lawyers and accountants and bankers. And just those people, they'd be reassured to know that I have a wife. You know, I mean, it makes everything look more, well, more stable.
I did not marry you to become your token piece of stability. If that's what you think marriage is about, you don't need a wife. You need a building society.
Look, is it too much for a husband to ask his wife to go with him on an important business dinner?
I'd be more than happy to go with you if I didn't have this class. But, Kelly, a woman's got to do what a woman's got to do.
Your fly's undone. Wasn't really, I just said that. Just to assert myself. I mean, you gotta do that once in a while. Had to do it yesterday. Boy, yesterday I had it up to here with all that stuff about independence. So I really laid down the law, boy. I mean, I really asserted myself. Left the toilet seat up. God, women hate that. I don't know why. When I was a little boy, everybody hated it when I left it down. No, I think the hardest thing about an argument with my wife anymore is trying to figure out how to handle it, see? Because I know women's roles are changing, but where does that leave the man? I mean, there's just no definition anymore. The roles used to be so defined. Men did this and women did that. You know, it's been that way for centuries. And probably with good reason. I'm sure it started with good reason. I'm sure in caveman days, woman was assigned that role because it was a little difficult for her to go out and hunt for food while she was bearing a child. So she was assigned the role of keeping the cave and cooking the food and watching the kids, and a man was assigned the role to go out and hunt for food. That's all he did was hunt for food, constantly hunting for food. Poor guy had no time for anything else. Hey, Zonk, what are you doing after lunch? Looking for dinner. What the hell? I mean, there was no Kentucky Fried Brontosaurus. Run down and get a giant drumstick for the family. See? But that's all changed. Not men's roles. Men's roles, I think, have remained essentially the same, that of bringing home the bacon. But the woman's role has changed. And boy, nothing's prepared men for that. That's what makes it so difficult. There's no guidelines, you know? My father never had that problem. No, sir. My father, in my father's day, his role was continuously being reinforced, you know? I watched those old movies from the 30s, and they were constantly reinforcing the man's role. That same argument that Suzanne and I just had would have been treated a lot different in those days, especially in the movies. Because in those old movies, man, those men knew how to react.
A good man is hard to find. You always get the other kind. Just when you think that he is your pal, you look for him and find him fooling around some other.
Kelly, please let me go with you.
Let me alone, will you?
I don't want to leave you alone, you great big wonderful lug. I want to share your ambitions, your dreams, your joys, your sorrows.
Why don't you share my laundry? You put too much starch in my shirt.
I'm sorry, Kelly. I'll fix it for you.
Besides, I gotta meet the big boss for lunch.
How come I don't never get to meet the big boss?
Because he's like me. Thinks a dame's only good for one thing. And he don't like to see no laundry being done at the table. What's the matter? Can't get a man get a cup of coffee around here?
I'm sorry, Kelly. Here.
About time. What are you trying to do? Poison me?
Sorry, Kelly. I guess I must have been thinking about your laundry when I fixed it. Say, is this grounds for divorce?
Sure ain't grounds for coffee.
Here, why don't you have some soup?
Soup? I hate soup!
Oh, Kelly! I only want to make you happy!
Don't cook no more soup, you dumb broad!
Oh, Kelly, I love you so much! Can't you see that, you big galoot? You're my man and I'm your woman! I just want to make you happy and I just want to have your babies!
Don't talk dirty! Besides, well, you got time. I'm late for lunch.
Oh, Kelly, please let me go with you.
Let me alone, will you?
Please let me go with you.
You ain't going to, tell
I
you.
want to come with you.
Let me alone, you. It's a cinch they don't throw soup around like that anymore. Not at these prices, anyway. Yeah, in those days, a woman really looked up to her man. Now, mind you, she didn't have much choice, spending most of her time being dragged across the kitchen floor. No, it's not like that anymore. Oh, I don't know if it was ever really like that. And if it was, you can't blame women for wanting to change, because nobody wants to be treated like a piece of meat. Everybody likes to have some sort of sense of identity. I know that from traveling, see? Because I spent a lot of time traveling by myself, and I noticed that so many people I'd come into contact with, well, they wouldn't really see me as an individual. They just kind of associate me with their work, you see. Like to a chambermaid in a hotel, I wasn't Kelly Monteith. I'm a room number. 1214 needs soap and towels. To a cab driver, I'm the guy that doesn't know the fare from London Airport. Restaurants are good examples. You walk in a restaurant and sit down and nobody has a name anymore. Everybody's a food order. That's how waiters and waitresses identify people. They come up to the table. Veal Parmesan? Liver and onions? People to the table do the same thing. They go, no, no, I'm liver and onions. This is veal Parmesan. This is chopped steak and that's tomato surprise. So to a waiter and a waitress, I really am what I eat. You see, most of us are, because I'm sure there's probably some waitress watching me on TV now going, Harry, look who's on TV. Meat and 2 veg. It's funny how waitresses and waiters, they don't really talk to you. They don't really hear you either, you know. It's funny how they do. What they'll do is they'll wait till you get a mouthful of food before they'll come up to the table, and then they'll ask, everything okay here? They never wait around for an answer. You could be choking on a piece of meat. Everything all right? Glad you're enjoying it. The people that really ignore you a lot, though, in restaurants are head waiters. Boy, I can't stand those guys, those little dictatorial men. You know, the Hitler's at a podium there. I have a theory about that. I think Hitler is really alive and working as a head waiter someplace. That's how he escaped. He shaved off his mustache, put on a little black tie, stood at a podium and told the Russians, I will call you when your table is ready. The Russian said, it's good. More time, drink vodka. That's why they have bars in these places, see? That's so you can drink up and get some courage to go in there and face that head waiter.
Hello? Le Ripoff? You want a reservation? Have you been here before? No? Have you references? A letter from David Frost? You don't? Au revoir.
Excuse me, I have a reservation. Reservation? Reservation?
Oui, monsieur.
My name is Monteith.
Moncrepe.
No. Monteith.
Mongoose, no mongoose.
No, Monteith. My name is Monteith.
Men's room, no reservation for
men's room.
What is it, Claude?
Excuse me, monsieur. Mr. Dennis Ely wishes to write a check.
Oh, my God.
Damn. I never know if I should tip these guys or what, you know? And if so, how much? Now, if the guy had some kind of uniform on, I might have an idea, but what do you tip a guy wearing tails? Well, a $5's on top, so a $5 it is.
Mon Dieu, les politiciens, c'est incroyable, incroyable.
Excuse me, I have a reservation. My name is Monteith. Monteith?
We have no reservation for Monsieur Moncrap.
My name isn't Look, maybe it's not my name. I'm supposed to meet this banker, Mr. Burton Montague here.
But Montague, oh? Claude, table 22 for Monsieur Moonface.
Thank you.
Excuse me, monsieur. I will dispose of this worthless piece of paper.
£5 note is a worthless piece of paper?
And it's getting worth less and less all the time.
Thank you. Now, this is typical. Everybody's late. One of the first rules of a business meeting, never be on time, always be late. I think people in business operate on the theory that the more important they think they are, the later they show up. In fact, I know some people think they're so important they never show up at all. You always have the same excuse. Well, sorry I'm late, I was in a meeting. Now, everybody knows that's not true, it's just part of the game. I call it businessman's foreplay. Because you know that sooner or later, somebody's going to get screwed. Yeah, I don't know know why they insist upon having business meetings in restaurants anyway, because you never get anything accomplished. Nobody talks business before dinner, they don't talk business during dinner, and God knows they don't talk about it after dinner, because then everybody's thinking of only one thing. How can I stick the other guy with the bill?
Kelly, baby! Good to see you.
Hello.
Sorry I'm late. I was in a meeting.
Al, you don't have to make that excuse with me. I mean, you're my manager. You can't impress me.
Well, I was in a meeting.
With who?
My ex-wife.
Oh, God, what'd she want this time?
The usual. Everything. What the hell, it's only money. At least I got my health. Triple scotch here and some cigarettes. 40 Turkish high tars.
Turkish high tars. Hell, those things are killers.
Oh, nothing to what I smoked when we were in Egypt. Nasser's Revenge, we used to call them. They were 1 part tobacco, 1 part mud, and 1 part camel dung.
You actually smoke those?
Well, that's all we could get. They tasted terrible, made you cough like hell, but you could go 3 weeks without water.
What'd they do to your chest?
Nothing, but your back developed a hump.
Now, where's this Mr. Montague, anyway?
Relax, he'll be here. Now, just stay cool, Kelly.
Monsieur?
Ah, thank you.
A cigarette.
Thank you. Another triple, please.
Monsieur.
Hell, for
Now,
God's sake.
Kelly, just stay cool. I know how to handle these city bankers when they're lending you a lot of money. Calmness, relaxation, and above all, a sense of traditional English dignity.
Yeah.
Burton, me old fella! How are you, my old sweetheart? Still got that same old secretary, you know what I mean?
Please. I'm sorry to be late. I was at a meeting.
Where else?
Ah, and you must be Keith.
No, it's Kelly.
Of course, yes. I once had a dog named Kelly.
See, you've got something in common already. Hey, what do you think of the script, Burton?
Oh, I thought it was delicious.
You mean you ate my script?
You ate his script. That's very funny, eh, Burton?
Very jolly, yes.
You care for something from the bar, sir?
You know I never touch spirits. Just have a bottle of, a well-mannered claret.
Yeah, make it the oldest bottle you've got. Bring me another triple.
Oui, monsieur.
Mr. Montague, I hate to get right down to business, but, well, what about the loan?
Why don't we discuss that while we eat, eh?
Well, I'd like to, but Mr. Montague, I've been on tenterhooks for weeks. I mean, do we get the financing or don't we?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Kelly, after considering all the available options...
Your wine, sir.
76. Yes, that's quite a good year, right.
My movie career's in the balance, and he's choosing wine.
But he's very good at it.
How?
Now, Kelly, calm down. I'm sure he's going to give us the decision.
What decision?
The financing.
Ah, yes, the financing. Well, don't forget that I'm ultimately responsible to the board and the shareholders. And you are, shall we say, a special case. After all, your occupation is unusual.
You lent £1 million to a comedian? Just what the hell are you, Montague? Some kind of comedian?
Are you all right, Mr. Monteith? You look a trifle pale.
Oh, I guess I'm just a little anxious.
Well, of course, yes. And believe me, I'm as anxious as you are to get these discussions underway. So why don't I start with a shrimp cocktail? And the tornadoes rossini are quite good here.
Sounds good to me. What would you like, Kelly?
I'd like to know what his decision is.
Very well. When I say decision, I don't mean decision in the final sense. Of course, nothing is final when it comes to decision. On the other hand, I'm not saying that it's inconclusive. No, I think it's crucial to the ongoing development of this project within the parameters laid down by the framework of references that are open to us at this point of time. It's essential that we keep every available option open, whilst at the same time not losing sight of the fact that it is likely that A, and do understand that I'm suggesting this for your consideration and your consideration only, and that B, we do not box ourselves into a circle. To sum up then, it is in the ultimate interests of all the parties concerned that we maintain a mutual trust and confidence and move forward based on the precepts that I have just clarified for you, secure in the knowledge that we shall arrive at a meaningful conclusion that will be of mutual benefit to all concerned. And I think saute potatoes.
Can't say it plainer than that. Isn't that right, Kelly?
Yeah. Waiter, triple scotch here, please. Oh, make that 2.
Oui, monsieur.
Make it 4.
Yeah.
Oui, monsieur.
They're very slow here, Mr. Montague.
Is that you, darling?
Hi. So how was your class?
All right. How's the dinner?
Expensive.
You mean you got stuck with the bill?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose Hal got his usual pre-bill heart attack.
Sure did. Same symptoms, too. Old paralysis in the writing hand, followed by tightness around the wallet. Could it just help me out with a tip? God, I hate to tip. I always leave wondering if I should have left more, you know? I know it's silly, but I have this terrible fear that if I don't leave enough, that they're gonna follow me home and... Coming.
Monsieur Menopause, this is an outrage.
Monteith.
You have insulted me and my staff.
What are you talking about?
Is this the man, Claude?
Oui, monsieur.
Is this your signature?
Yeah?
Is this your tip?
Yeah.
Was the service not good?
No, it was,
Was the food bad?
Not really. It was...
Then why'd you humiliate me and my staff?
What do you mean humiliate you?
The tip, monsieur. The tip. You call this a tip? I spit on your tip.
You also spit on my shoe.
What's wrong with that tip?
What's wrong? This man has trained in some of the finest and most overpriced restaurants in the world. By looking at you in a certain way, he can make you declare the worst piece of meat the best meal you ever had. Look at that face. The cold eyes. The curl of the lip. The sneer. That is talent, monsieur. Skill that has taken years to perfect. And what do? Huh? You slap him in the face with your chintz.
Chintzy.
What are you talking about? First you ignored me when I walk in.
It's part of my business, monsieur.
Then you give me a lousy table.
In keeping with your stature, monsieur.
Then you had the unmitigated gall to serve me supposedly your oldest bottle of wine.
It was our oldest. 1976.
Oh, 1976. That's old?
BC, monsieur.
Peace? You mean before...
Correct. Before Callahan.
Well, perhaps I was a little bit,
Chintzy.
Monsieur Monatell, you are an ingrate. Call yourself a customer. You suck lemons. Change that 2 into an 8.
An 8? Come on.
The years of training, monsieur. The sneer.
All right, here, it's done.
Merci, monsieur. Come, Claude, we go. On connaît même pas un gars, oui? Qui me garde dans le champ de l'île Fafin, que ni me connaît pas. Et quoi, s'entend chez les copains? Oui? I wish you an eternity of heartburn, monsieur. And may all your truffles be trifles. Au revoir, Monsieur Baptiste.
Kelly Monteith.